It's hot dog time. I went to the store and bought every hot dog so we could finally find out how they rank against each other. Going to the hot dog section and having 1,500 different hot dogs to pick from. Which hot dog is gonna be good? Which hot dog sucks? I don't know. Today we're gonna figure it all out. I bought every single hot dog. And when I say every single hot dog, I mean like a good handful of them. We got a good variety here though, and we're gonna figure out what's the best dog. We got smoked dogs, we got nacho cheese dogs, we got turkey dogs, chicken dogs. We even got the highly suspect fun dog, which I am very terrified to put into my mouth. Now, of course, we're doing a tier list here. We're gonna break it down real scientific-like, and in order to get the best results, we're obviously gonna sample the hot dog water as well. There's probably a lethal dose of carcinogens and chemicals in the hot dogs in front of me here. It's a risk I'm willing to take for something this important. Transition.
What the hell?
And we're back. Now I want you guys to know I'm being incredibly scientific about this. For each dog, we're doing the same water to meat ratio. I am even adding some of the juice from the hot dog packet just to get all the flavor I can. And we're simmering all these hot dogs at the same temperature for the same amount of time. We're starting out here with the classic. This is the Ballpark brand Frank. Now Ballpark is one of the most prolific hot dog brands, and I even went with a little bit of a cute little presentation here to kick things off. I can't really recommend the pairing of lime and hot dog, but I love a good lime wedge.
No way, yeah.
And without further ado, it's time to kick off this tier list. Ballpark Frank. It's actually squeaking in my mouth. It's got a interesting kind of texture to it. It's actually singing in my mouth. Yeah, I mean, as far as hot dogs go, it's completely inoffensive. Overall, it's a pretty good hot dog. Good one to kick things off on. I mean, you can't really go wrong with this. And we go in for a sip of the water. Pretty good hot dog water there with some subtle undertones of the Ballpark dog. This is a great baseline hot dog. I don't really have anything bad to say about it, but it doesn't blow me out of the water either, so I'm gonna place it at a strong B tier. Next, we have a dog that I'm a little bit skeptical of. This was one of the cheapest I could find on the shelf. This is the Eckrich Original Frank. Immediately on opening the package for these, I was a little skeptical. I got the familiar hot dog odor, but there was like a almost like after scent of garbage. Yeah, I mean, even smelling them now cooked out of the pot, I'm getting a little unpleasant odor at the back end of that. Regardless, we're gonna go in for a dog here and take a bite. Yeah, immediately I'm not really liking this. It's a very soft texture. It doesn't have any of that hot dog snappiness when you bite into it. The flavor of it is okay. It's kind of like that artificial smokiness. It's not really the good smokiness though. It kind of tastes like I'm licking the wall next to the grill station at your local Chili's. We'll go for a sip of the water and see what that does for us. Ooh, no. The hot dog water here is significantly worse than the Ballpark baseline dog. If you told me that you boiled last week's gym socks in this water instead of the hot dogs, I'd probably believe you. It's quite greasy and it just has a foul aftertaste. I'm gonna place the Eckrich Original Frank firmly in the D tier. Next on the list, we have the Ballpark Nacho Cheese Frank. And yes, they look just as gross in real life as they do on camera. The hot dog water here is some sort of iridescent radioactive yellow, and I understand that these are nacho cheese dogs, but I don't think that means it should be giving off light. This looks really terrible. We are piping hot here, and I'm gonna go straight in for a bite. Oh my god. What even is this? What even is this? So the taste immediately is really bad, and then you kind of just get hit with this wave of like artificial jalapeno and cheese, and then it just turns into like taco seasoning, a bizarre flavor journey. I think there's more cumin in this hot dog than there is meat. I'm honestly more confused than anything. At first I thought I hated it, but it kind of grew on me. We'll see how the water's doing. Excuse me? This is the most bizarre experience of my life. So I think because of all the added spices in the hot dog to kind of get that nacho cheese feel, the hot dog water almost tastes like a soup broth. It's honestly the best hot dog water yet, but unfortunately the hot dog itself is just so confusing, I can't give it that high of a rating. I feel like this is the kind of dog you really gotta be in the mood for, but it's really not half bad. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the ballpark nacho cheese Frank in the B tier behind its brother, the classic Frank. Next we have the Oscar Mayer cheese dog. Immediately I'm noticing the kind of milky white hot dog water, which is a little bit off-putting, especially considering that I can see the cheese inside is pretty yellow, so I don't know what that's all about. Although it does feel more natural than the radioactive looking nacho cheese dog from Ballpark. So the cheese in this hot dog kind of is in these little pockets, and it just looks like a bunch of whiteheads, and it looks incredibly unappetizing. It actually looks foul. Now if you're eating this normally and it's in a bun, you get to hide all that, but just going straight for it like I am here, I'm mildly horrified. Well, anyway. Pretty interesting here. I had to take 2 bites to kind of wrap my head around this. The hot dog itself doesn't have too much flavor to it, but the cheese in there does add kind of a nice creamy undertone. The cheese doesn't completely take over the hot dog like the Ballpark nacho dog did, but at the same time it's not super pleasant. The hot dog itself just tastes like a watered down Kraft single, but maybe the hot dog water will impress us here. Well, it didn't impress us. In fact, it was one of the worst yet. Somehow the hot dog water tastes more like a hot dog than the actual meat part does. There's also a ton of floaters in here, which I imagine is bits of cheese, but it's kind of off-putting. I'm gonna put the Oscar Mayer cheese dog in the C tier. Before we move on, I think it would be super cool if you subscribe to my channel. We're coming in now with the Jenny O Jumbo Turkey Dog. And these things are pretty jumbo. I mean, that is a big guy right there. I figured if we're gonna have a hot dog tier list, we're gonna have to diversify a little bit. You know, we got a turkey dog in here, a little healthier option, you know. I've actually never had a turkey dog, so I'm pretty curious to see how this is gonna taste. And go in for a bite. Honestly, this thing blew my expectations out of the water. I honestly thought this was going to be terrible, but it's probably going to be decently high on the list. The texture's not great, but I think that just comes with the territory of being a jumbo dog. It's not super snappy, but it's also comparable to a lot of the non-turkey dogs on the list. The flavor's definitely better than some of the ones I've had. If you Frankensteined a breakfast sausage and a normal hot dog together and made it jumbo, you get this. We'll see how the water holds up. Yeah, the actual hot dog water here is pretty disappointing. It tastes like the water you use to do your dishes after Thanksgiving. It's weirdly greasy for being a turkey dog. The turkey dogs are definitely going to take a bit of a hit for the lack of performance in the water department. Really unpleasant finish there. I think the turkey dog's still going to be good enough to slide up into mid to high B tier. Now we're moving on to the suspect Fun Dog Frank. Now this was the single cheapest hot dog I could find in the store. I think it was something like $1.80 for a pack of 8. Similar to the other cheap dog in the beginning of the list, when I opened the package for these, it immediately gave a bit of a funky odor. It wasn't as bad, but I'm still left a little hesitant. Yeah, I'm expecting a similar kind of artificial smoky taste, and it definitely doesn't feel snappy in my hand. Well, let's find out. It's actually not bad. It's got a little bit of that fake smokiness to it, but overall it's definitely not the worst on the list. The flavor's pretty mid overall, but it's definitely inoffensive. Not something I'd really buy again, but if someone gave me a hot dog and it happened to be this one, I'd probably finish it onto the water test. Very subtle on the hot dog water actually, very inoffensive yet again. This actually has one of the cleanest hot dog waters we've seen today, which is interesting. Overall the Fun Dogs actually exceeded my expectations, and although it's not going to be super high on the list, I think it deserves a strong C tier. Up next, we have an Oscar Mayer Smoky. If you couldn't tell, this is the smoked variety of Oscar Mayer hot dog. Is it really smoked, or is it just injected with fake smoke? I don't know. It definitely smells smoky, but it's hard to tell exactly what we're dealing with here. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's definitely not bad. It's definitely plenty smoky, flavor's pretty good. My favorite thing about it is it's a little bit snappier than some of the other hot dogs on the list. It's definitely better than the Oscar Mayer cheese dog. It's not my personal favorite, but it just kind of feels a little bit more premium compared to something like the Fun Dog. Going for some water. The water's not great, it's not bad either. The water here just kind of tastes like grease. As far as I can tell, the smokiness isn't really translating into the water. It's not necessarily enjoyable, but at the same time, it's not really unpleasant compared to some of the other waters we've had today. I'm not the biggest fan, but I think the Oscar Mayer Smoky can go low B tier. Last but not least, we have a unique one from Gilbert's Craft Sausages. This is marketed as a bourbon apple chicken sausage. I found this on the shelf right in the middle of the hot dogs. As far as I'm concerned, it's a hot dog. And before you ask why my cup's only a quarter full and I only have one sausage in here, there was a couple mishaps on the transfer into the cup. It's not a big deal, relax. This one visually just looks a lot tastier than a lot of the other dogs in this list. You can see there's actually like some seasoning going on there. At least to me, this just looks a lot more appetizing. We'll see how it goes. I've never had one of these before. I am very confused. So right off the get-go, this thing has a lot of flavor in it. There also seems to be a lot more than just chicken in this chicken sausage. There's a sweetness to this. There might even be apple chunks in here. That's maybe why it's called bourbon apple. You know, it has a really good savoriness to it too, honestly. Yeah, I think I really like it. I don't think I've ever had a sausage like this in my life. Definitely have never had a hot dog like this, but I'm finding it pretty enjoyable. Let's see how the water holds up. That's interesting. You can almost get some of the notes of apple in the water, but similar to the Genio Turkey Frank, you kind of get that like almost poultry water kind of flavor that isn't overly pleasant. Regardless of that, it's tasting pretty clean for hot dog water. Not something I drink on the daily, but not half bad. Overall, this is a pretty tasty, healthier hot dog, chicken, sausage hybrid thing going on here, and I'm kind of here for it. I'm gonna give Gilbert's Craft Bourbon Apple Chicken Sausage a strong A. And that's it, we've got a completed tier list. If you've watched this far into the video, I appreciate you. You are very epic, and I hope you stick around the channel to see more content in the future. Now, I'm gonna go lay on the couch and overthink what all that processed meat is gonna do to my body.